It's 6 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance by Clerk Frank Glenn. We'll move on to Section 3B of the agenda, and I will report that there was no action taken in closed session, so we'll move on to Section 3C, and that is the public comment section. I don't have any cards. All right, so we will move on to Section 3D, and that's the superintendent's comments. Dr. Moore?
I would just like to say how nice it is to have students here joining us this evening. We look forward to recognizing you shortly.
Now we'll move to Section 4A of the agenda, and we'll start with the student representative, Haley Wantz.
Talk about an amazing week. Homecoming week at ESHS was absolutely amazing and everything I could have hoped for. It was a week full of lifelong memories, laughs, and lots of excitement, from the amazing floats to the halftime show and, of course, the game, as well as a huge shout out to our spirit commissioners for the amazing spirit days, pep rally, and lunchtime activities. The Eagle spirit was everything, and the energy was unmatched. After the amazing homecoming week, we led into an amazing week to celebrate all of our seniors with many amazing senior nights with tennis, water polo, volleyball, and then leading to football, choir, and band and cheer. We are so proud of all of the athletes in the class of 2024 and can't wait to see what their future holds. I would now like to pass it to our homecoming commissioners, Jules and Bree.
Thank you, Haley. Hello, board. I'm Jules Costa, the ASB Vice President.
I'm Brianna Matalich, your homecoming chair, and we're here to thank you guys for participating in our homecoming parade.
It went over so well, and we just thought the theme went perfect, and the whole parade was just so fun, and we just thank you guys so much for joining us and being a part of the parade. So we have fun little gifts for you that we're going to give out. So yeah, thank you so much.
Very kind, thank you. Now we'll move to Section 4B of the agenda, and do we have any representatives from ESTA? All right, we'll move to Section...
So I would just like to say, hopefully the students will have a Thanks, Meredith. Sorry. All right, but I just wanted to start off by saying hopefully the students have a wonderful day off as we as professionals look to get together and obviously enhance our teaching styles at all our different levels. In addition to that, the Red Ribbon Week, oh boy, is off to great effect. I know the Fall Flutter was also a great success. I had to watch a video of Brandlin seemed to be chasing a third grader through an obstacle course, which was quite entertaining to say the least. Then you have at Center Street, they had their jogathon, as well as the high school is in full effect with their Red Ribbon Week kickball tournament as well, which I was unfortunate to be able to get up there and ump a game, which is a little bit more grueling than one would desire. So, but with that being said, we look forward to the professional development coming up this Friday, and enjoy. Have a safe weekend.
Thank you. Now we'll move to Section 4C of the agenda. Dr. Moore?
Yes, I'd like to call forward El Segundo High School Principal Steve Gephardt to share a very special recognition regarding our Business Pathway students.
Thank you, Dr. Moore, for the invitation, President Wheaton, Vice President Beachley, and members of the board. I appreciate you inviting me here. Seems to be something that's becoming relatively regular, and I love it every time because we know how special the students are at El Segundo High School and the whole community of El Segundo, so it's great that we get to recognize them publicly like this. I'm here to recognize for the second year in a row students that are part of the business pathway at El Segundo High School, and specifically students that concluded an end-of-the-year test within the business pathway offered through the High School of Business. It's a national test that's given out, and for the second year in a row, we've had a large number of students that have actually scored in the top 10% in the nation. Not the state, but the nation. And as it feels like a relatively broken record for me to stand up and be like, this small community is doing it, and this little school is doing it, it's a broken record because it's constantly true. There's a reason these records continue to be broken in this way. It's because our students continue to show out with everything they do. For those of you that aren't aware, or for those of you that maybe weren't a part of this last year we went through it, the High School of Business is a specific curriculum that's offered through our business pathway. They sponsor, it's actually sponsored by DECA, D-E-C-A, and the California Council of Economic Education. There's a curriculum the students follow. They get to do projects that put them in a real-world simulated business structure. They get to learn different elements of opening and starting your own business, which it feels like in today's economy is something that's really critical for those students that choose the pathway and are interested in that. The business pathway is led specifically by our teachers, John Eastman and Bonnie May. They've been guiding the students through this. And the 4 specific areas that you will hear about as students are recognized this evening is they scored in the top 10% in one or more of the areas of the principles of finance, the principles of business, business economics, and the principles of marketing. And so with that, I would like to recognize and invite up a board member to help me in recognizing our students and their amazing results. However you'd like to do it, Clerk Glenn.
Well, I don't know if you're all here, but I'll call your name and give you a certificate, and I'm very proud to do this. And the first one is Timothy Anderson. Hey, Timothy. Yeah, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
You can stay up here, I think.
I'll get some pics going.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Evan Chan. Hi, Evan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go. Thomas Kuzosria. Well, close. You want to tell me how to pronounce your name? Kuzokria. Very good. Thank you. And William DeBlanc. Not here. Carlotta Escala Bowen. Not here. Dominic Kopecki. A lot of Riley Letterman.
They're all out studying now.
Yeah. Tristan Latang. Judson Lister. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Jacob Noda. Keith Puckett. Hey, Keith. Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you so much.
Erica Remmer. Congratulations, Erica.
Thank you.
Lucas Sun. Chantal Walker. Congratulations.
Thank
Hayden Walkinshaw. Nanami Yamashita. Oh, and now we're down to teachers. Bonnie, are you here? Bonnie May? No. Or John Eastman. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Great job.
Thank
Thank you. Steve, do you want to join us for the picture? What? Who is it?
Carlotta.
Oh, okay. Well, give me a minute. Near the top. Better late than never, right?
Help you out. Carlotta,
So sorry.
congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'd like to take a picture. All right, continuing with the meeting, we will move to section 4D, and I will pass it to Mrs. Lenz.
Thank you, President Wheaton. We have with us this evening Rachel Sanders, the Vice President of Consulting for the Public Agency Retirement Services, or PARS, as we usually call it. Rachel's team and our team have been partnering in the last few months and exploring retirement incentives, and have found a program we think that we would recommend moving forward with, an incentive for certificated staff. So working with Rachel's team, we chose a recommended plan. Rachel's here to explain the plan and the implications for the district based on the PARS projections. There is an action item later in the agenda to proceed to the next steps. However, the next steps are not necessarily the full adoption of the program. It's just allowing, and Rachel will explain this, to begin working with employees. In the end, for full adoption of the program, it does have to be a fiscally viable program. And we will work with Rachel's team to determine that once we complete the next steps. With that, I'll turn things over to Rachel.
Great, thank you so much, and good evening, members of the board. I apologize that I am not there in person to give this presentation. I'm out of town, so I appreciate you letting me join virtually. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and I'll make sure that everyone can see this okay. Put this into full screen mode. All right, perfect. Is this showing up okay for everyone? Okay, wonderful. So I appreciate the introduction, and as mentioned, I have been working with the district team on analyzing what's called a supplementary retirement plan otherwise known as SERP, and this would be a one-time early retirement incentive that would be offered to eligible certificated employees of the district. So I'm going to start with just a quick background about PARS. We actually worked with the district a handful of years ago on analyzing one of these programs, but for those that may not be familiar with us, PARS stands for Public Agency Retirement Services. So we're actually located down in Orange County, so not too far from the district, and we were established back in 1984. We actually got our start doing these early retirement incentive programs. So we are the pioneer of these programs and the leading provider in the state as well. We've worked with over 1,000 different agencies. We have upwards of 500,000 participants that we work with. And we currently actually have over $7 billion in assets under administration. So our goal as a company is really to customize different types of retirement plans that are geared toward helping school districts and other public agencies achieve their financial objectives and obviously hopefully get savings along the way. So this is a sampling of other California agencies that we have worked with on these SERPs, or early retirement incentives. And so you'll see in the top there that we've worked with a number of your neighboring districts in the Los Angeles County area. PARS works with districts of all sizes, as you'll see suggested on this page. So we've worked with very small districts, and we've worked with districts as big as LA Unified School District. So again, we have a lot of experience and expertise when it comes to analyzing, implementing, and doing the administration of these programs. Now, I will explain what the process and steps look like if the board decided to potentially proceed with opening up an enrollment window. So the district has identified eligible certificated employees that would be offered this program. And with these programs, we typically recommend a 45 to 60-day enrollment window. So as was mentioned, this is a contingent plan offering, meaning that if the board were to approve this plan opening up this evening, it simply does mean that you are giving the green light for us to start the enrollment window being opened up. And after that enrollment window has closed, we will then be able to do a post-analysis where we can then share with the board the results of the SERP. So at that point in time, you would be able to take action based on who actually enrolled as to whether or not it makes both fiscal and operational sense to proceed with the plan. So if the board again were to agree to open up the enrollment window tonight, we would send out customized packets to all eligible certificated employees. And within those packets, employees would find an irrevocable letter of resignation. So that is something that they would turn in with their enrollment packet. And if the plan does move forward, they would be locked into resigning from employment at the end of the year. If for whatever reason the board decided to cancel the plan, if it didn't meet your objectives, they would have those letters of resignation automatically rescinded and would have no obligation to resign from employment unless they otherwise chose to do so. So as I mentioned, when we do our pre-analysis, obviously it's based on the group as a whole and we look at averages, but once we do have the final list at the end of that enrollment period of who actually enrolled, we will update our fiscal analysis projections and share that with the team as well as with the board so that you can make an informed decision about whether or not to move forward with the plan. Now, the proposed plan design is an 80% of final pay spend amount. And so what that means is that every eligible employee would be offered a one-time incentive that would be equivalent to 80% of his or her final pay. Typically, that is going to be their salary for the given school year. So again, that's where every individual would get a customized, what's called a benefit illustration that goes over all of those different payout options available at this level of benefit. And this would actually be paid through a 403B annuity with Pacific Life Insurance Company. So the nice thing about these plans is that they are not funded in a one-time lump sum payment. Rather, the district would be able to spread out the payments over a 5-year period, and that will be reflected in the option choices that the employees do have. So as I'll show you on this next page, employees will actually have 14 different ways in which they can take this early retirement incentive benefit. So you'll note that there's not a lump sum option, again, because this is funded over 5 years, but based on the average eligible employee for this plan, this will give you a sense of what their options may look like. So again, taking 80% of an employee's final pay, they are going to have 3 different lifetime options. So you'll note options 1, 2, and 3 are all going to be smaller dollar amounts because they are based on the employee's lifetime and based on mortality tables and things like that. So option 1, for example, pays out for the retiree's lifetime, and then the benefit would end once that employee passes. Option 2 is a joint and survivor option. That one pays out monthly for the retiree's lifetime as well as his or her one named beneficiary's lifetime. And then option 3 pays out for the greater of an employee's lifetime with a minimum built-in 10-year guarantee. So let's say, heaven forbid, someone passes 5 years into getting this CERT benefit, the beneficiary designated would have an additional 5 years worth of payments that would be guaranteed, so that no matter what, a whole 10 years are paid out. And of course, if the person lives beyond 10 years, it would pay out as a regular lifetime benefit at that point. Now, below those first 3 options, that's where we get into what are called our fixed term payment options. So starting with number 5, and we're often asked why there is no number 4. The reason why we jump to number 5 is because, again, this plan is funded by the district over 5 years. And so the quickest that someone would be able to get his or her money would be over the course of 5 years. So starting with option 5, you will see an option that in this example pays out roughly $1,660 per month for 5 years. So someone selecting option 5 would receive in total 60 benefit payments, and then after that 60th payment was made after 5 years, the benefit would end. Similarly, option 10 would pay out roughly $906 for 10 years, a total of 120 payments, and then the benefit would end. So at the end of the day, all of these options are really equivalent to one another. So whether an employee chooses to take a lifetime benefit, one that pays out over 5 years, all the way up to one that pays out over 15 years, it costs the district the same thing, 80% of an employee's final benefit pay. So, you're really agnostic in terms of what option employees choose. It really does put the flexibility and choice in the hands of the employees, because certainly everyone has different objectives for what their finances look like in retirement. The other note I do want to make is that options 5 through 9 do have an asterisk next to them. And that is because the IRS allows employees to tax defer any retirement benefit that is paid out under 10 years. So for those employees that are choosing one of options 5 through 9, they have the additional flexibility to roll over their benefit into a qualified retirement plan, whether that's an IRA, another 403B, a 401A, etc. So again, there are some tax advantages as well for those that want to utilize that option. Now, in terms of the analysis that we shared with your district, as I mentioned, PARS has been doing these programs since 1984. So we have a lot of experience in doing very thorough and comprehensive analyses, and we want to ensure that we capture any variables that could potentially lead to either cost savings or cost in some cases for districts. And so just to inform the board, we've worked through a number of different scenarios with the team, and ultimately what you see on this page are the real driver of whether or not these plans tend to lead to a cost savings or, again, as I said, a cost. So certainly the compensation differential between an outgoing or retiring employee and someone that might be backfilling that position is a big driver of cost savings. I do like to point out that PARS does not take any credit for saving money on natural attrition, or in other words, retirements that we would expect the district to get without offering an early retirement incentive. We also discount for future loss in natural attrition because we expect that these plans accelerate your natural attrition often 2 to 4 times what you might see in a given year. And so we know that we're borrowing retirements for the future, so we also do discount for that in our analysis. In addition to that, we factor in your retiree healthcare costs, all of the costs to actually running this incentive, including the PARS fees, as well as what you'd be paying out to any employees that sign up for the plan, have also been netted out of our analysis. And then, of course, depending on who enrolls, if the district does have the ability to potentially not replace certain positions, we also do show savings for that. So all of those things allow us to show the district a projected net savings or cost. Now, we've summarized what the projections look like. So when we look at the total number of eligible certificated employees, there are 34 for this year that would be offered this program. And we project between 10 to 12 would likely take this. And so as you'll see here, we included that break-even point, which is 11 employees out of the 34 eligible, and that's about 32% of the group. Now, if all 11 employees were to take the early retirement incentive based on the average of the group, and the district was to backfill every single one of those 11 positions, we are projecting that you would have savings, and those are included here at the bottom. You can see over 1 year, we're looking at just over 97,000 in savings. Over 3 years, about 124,000 in savings, and then you're more or less at a break even over 5 years, looking at about 6,600 in savings. And of course, dependent upon who enrolls in the plan, if there is any ability to potentially non-replace certain positions, that could certainly increase projected savings as well. Now, in terms of the proposed timeline, this will give the board a sense of what the rollout would look like and how your employees would be communicated to. So assuming that the board decides to adopt the resolution tonight, again, that is not a guarantee that the plan is moving forward, but rather allows you to open up the enrollment window to start the process of allowing all eligible employees to be educated on the program, give them the opportunity to digest whether this is something that's going to work for them. And of course, throughout the process, talk to the PARS team and decide if they do want to enroll by the end of this window. So if the board decides to adopt the program tonight, our team would work directly to send out all of those customized packets to your employees. Every eligible employee would get a packet that has his or her specific options based on date of birth, salary information, etc. And we would also work with the team to schedule an orientation meeting where the PARS team will come out, educate your employees on what this program entails, certainly paint the larger picture of other considerations for retirement, including contacting CalSTRS, Medicare, Social Security, if those are things that need to be considered as well, and of course provide them with instructions on how to fill out that packet if they are interested in enrolling. Toward the end of the enrollment window, we do hold a one-on-one employee workshop. So here you can see that would be in mid-January. That is an opportunity for your employees to meet one-on-one with the PARS team, ask any personal questions that they may have, get help filling out paperwork, and again, be able to turn in their packets to a PARS representative at that point if they are interested in doing so. And then we would have the enrollment window closing on January 18th. And at that point, once we know exactly who enrolled in the plan, we would then conduct our post-analysis where we look at the specific people that enrolled and provide updated fiscal projections to the team that would then be shared with the board on February 13th. At that point in time, again, dependent upon whether the plan has met the district's fiscal and operational objectives, you can approve to move forward with the plan or otherwise cancel the plan if it has not met those objectives. We will inform all employees either way once the board makes a decision. And if the board does decide to move forward with the offering at that point in time, all of the employees who enrolled would work through the end of the school year, resigning from district employment on or before June 30th of 2024. And they would actually receive their first benefit check soon thereafter. So starting August 1st, that is when the PARS benefits checks would commence. So they get their checks soon after the close of the school year if this does move forward. So that was the overview that I wanted to share with the board, and I am of course happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I'm just going to go ahead. So when you had the part about you would meet people one-on-one, they do need to understand that if they're retiring, that they also need to meet with their STRS person as well, because this is really just for this particular plan and not their STRS retirement. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that.
Absolutely. And yes, you are correct. This is really to be considered a one-time voluntary offering that folks can consider as something on top of what they'd be getting through their STRS retirement. But to your point, their STRS retirement is certainly an important factor in deciding whether or not this is the right time to retire. And our team will also be communicating that at the onset we do those orientations, that everyone should contact CalSTRS to make sure that it does make sense to retire even with this additional monies. I agree.
So I have a question about the options years 5 through 9 for the tax deferment. So with
Yeah.
that, they're putting it away and then they've been pre-tax dollars, and then the benefit is that when they draw from it, in theory, they'll be at a lower tax bracket, so there's an overall benefit from it.
Yes, that is a great way of explaining it. So oftentimes we'll see folks that want to roll over their benefit payment if they are in a higher tax bracket when they sign up for this early retirement incentive and know that potentially a few years down the road, maybe as they're further into retirement, they'll be in a lower tax bracket and then those tax implications wouldn't be quite as high. So yes, it does give them tax favorability to make those types of decisions. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Before we move to the next section of the agenda, Section 5, the consent agenda, I would like to pause for a minute and recognize Bonnie Mae from the Business Pathway. She entered the room. If we can take a moment and we thank you for joining us this evening. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, Section 5.
No polls.
May I have a motion?
I'll move approval on items A through O.
Second.
Any discussion? Haley, may I have your preferential vote?
Aye.
All board members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we'll move to Section 6, action items. I would like to start with item 6A.
In accordance with Board of Education Policy Number 3290, the Board of Education may accept gifts as long as there is no conflict with the Education Code or other public laws. The school district has received generous donations. These donations do not conflict with any Education Code or public laws regarding acceptance of gifts. The gifts were received from Kroger and Steve Igems. I move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
I didn't know volleyballs were that expensive, but thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
Haley, may I have your preferential vote?
Aye.
All board members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, motion carries 5-0. Next, we'll move to action item 6B. Dr. Moore? All right. And we have a resolution number 5-2023-24, and I'll move it to Clerk Glenn.
Now therefore be it resolved that 1, the governing Board of Education of the district hereby adopts the PARS Supplemental Retirement Plan as part of the district retirement program effective October 24th, 2023. And 2, the retirement incentive must meet the district's fiscal and operational objectives in order for the plan to go into effect. If these goals are not reached, the district may withdraw the retirement incentive. If the district withdraws the retirement incentive, resignations may be rescinded. And 3, the Board of Education of the district hereby appoints the chief business official or her successor or her designee as the district's plan administrator. And 4, the district's PARS plan administrator is hereby authorized to execute the contracts, custodial agreement facilitating the payment of contributions to the 403B arrangement, and other legal documents related to a trust or the plan on behalf of the district, and to take whatever additional actions are necessary to maintain the district's participation in the plan and to maintain compliance of any relevant regulations issued.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I have something to say. I'm torn when we do this because I know there's going to be good teachers that leave early, and that will break my heart. But also, I'm pleased that this might be beneficial to some of them to go out and enjoy life beyond Else County Unified. So I'm feeling very torn, but it's an opportunity.
As a teacher, I'm happy for them.
As a teacher, I'm wishing I'd have waited 3 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, huh?
And as a board member, I'm happy that we have this, we're able to offer this opportunity, and those who wish to take it will decide if it's best for them, and we'll go from there. But you're right, it will be sad to lose some people, but it brings me comfort knowing that we have set something up for them to leave in a comfortable manner. All right, on that note, Haley, may I ask for your preferential vote?
Aye.
All board members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, motion carries 5-0. Before I open the public hearing for action item 6C, I will give the floor to Dr. Moore. And I'll open it at 6:36 p.m. All right, and I will close the public hearing at 6:37 p.m. Next, we'll move to... It's specific to the agenda item. No, but no, we don't open it.
Should there be an agenda item that you're interested in speaking in, you can fill out a card and provide it to us. And then before that item is heard, we can give have you do your public comment. Okay.
Thank you for that. All right, now we'll move to action item 6D. Dr. Moore?
Yes, item 6D is acceptance of CSEA's initial proposal. This is both action item D and F have to do with the collective bargaining process. So this is what is considered sunshine to the public regarding items that will be discussed through collective bargaining with CSEA, who are our non-certificated group. That's all I have.
I move acceptance.
Second.
Any discussion? Haley, may I have your preferential vote?
Aye.
All board members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, motion carries 5-0. Next, we'll move to action item 6E, public hearing. I'll open it at 6:38 p.m. I will close the public hearing at 6:39 p.m. Next, we'll move to action item 6F. Dr. Moore?
Yes, I just want to note in this item, in the narrative on public content, the year is incorrect, the title is correct. So this is actually the district's proposal to CSEA regarding the 23-24 fiscal year. In the narrative, it says 22-23, so I'd like to amend that so that it will read 23-24, and we'll correct that content following the board meeting. It's important to note that we have already settled collective bargaining with ESTA, and we are starting CSEA as they had a new labor rep come on board, and things were just delayed on their side of the thing. So we look forward to moving forward with the negotiations with our classified employees.
I'll move acceptance.
Second.
Any discussion? Haley, may I have your preferential vote?
Aye.
All board members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we'll move to action item 6G. Dr. Moore?
Yes, we're very excited about this item. Although it's a large amount, this is about furnishings for our new 6-classroom building at Richmond Street School. So we will look forward to a school dedication for that particular classroom on January 5th at 9 a.m. So that's a save the date, and invitations will be distributed in the next week.
Second.
Any discussion? Haley, may I have your preferential vote?
Aye.
All board members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose? Motion carries 5-0. Now we'll move to the information pending action section of the agenda. We'll start with item 7A. We have a comment card, but I'll start first to allow Dr. Moore to introduce it.
Yes, thank you, President Wheaton, members of the board. In 2022-23 school year, ESUSD conducted a survey to parents, and at a board meeting, Dr. Plotkin presented the results of that survey data to the board. And at that time, no additional non-student, non-staff days were added to the calendar. The purpose of placing this on the agenda this evening as an information pending action is to preview the calendar for public and for the board. So I appreciate that we have someone here from the public to weigh in on this matter, and allow the board an opportunity to provide further direction to staff regarding any calendar consideration, such as including any additional non-student, non-teacher staff days. Thank you.
At this time, with the comment card in hand, I'd like to call to the podium Michael Lipsy. And you have 5 minutes. Please hit the button when it's green. Perfect.
Hi. I know most of you well. Consider you friends and neighbors and whatnot. You mentioned the survey. The survey asked specifically about the Jewish High Holy Days. In the survey, and if you recall, Dr. Plotkin and Tracy, I had sent you an email back in 2022 when the survey, if we're talking about the same one, went out. The format of the questions was in such a way that support for a topic was on the left side for this specific question. And it seemed to me, I have a screenshot, that it was only this question where those answers were flipped. And for me, as somebody who develops tests for my company's certification program and stuff like that, when you change the way you answer and ask questions into a way that flips things around to what people are used to seeing, the natural tendency is to continue to consider, oh, well, that's support over there, versus moving the button to the other side and something that looks otherwise similar. So I would contest that those survey results are likely inaccurate because of the way the question and answer are changed from the norm in the rest of the survey. And some of you are teachers, and so I think you can find that that is, that's an accurate statement. When you change the question and answer format in the middle of a thing, it gets really weird. So further, I've been up here a bunch of times over the years. Sometimes I have to send an email because I can't get to the board meeting. And I've asked for this in the calendar for consideration since my oldest son, who is now out of high school, was in kindergarten. And so that's 13 years, am I right? And I know people who live and live around this area who have asked this since before that, going upwards of like 40 years, for the Jewish community to be considered in El Secundo's calendar. And so just as an example, I'm going to read to you the different districts that already support this and have through other generations. Like personally, I have a rabbi who works at Temple Menorah down in Redondo Beach. When she went to school in LA Unified, she never had to work or go to school on the High Holy Days. LA Unified, Santa Monica, and Malibu, Torrance, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, Culver City, Beverly Hills, Glendale. Those are the ones that I was able to find calendars for. Some of the smaller districts like Hawthorne and Lawndale, they don't have it, but they're much smaller districts. So I see these new calendars for the next two school years, and there's no support, again, for the many Jewish members of our community, both faculty and student, to take those days off. And I know that there's an attendance policy because I've been sent it every time I bring it up. And the attendance policy does not work. The reviewing of absences does not work. That's what the district always tells me, is that they're going to review the absences. Well, because the policy doesn't work and students don't feel like it's safe for them to take the time off because they're going to have so much work that they're going to miss, instruction that they're going to miss, that they don't take it off. So reviewing absences produces no actionable results. It doesn't work that way. So, like, for example, if I didn't have the time off from work to attend the High Holy Days, I wouldn't take the time off for work unless I absolutely could. And I know many people in the employed world who aren't able to take that time off. It's a topic of conversation all the time. Can't get the time off, can't attend. And so that's how our students feel. They're not supported. That's how our staff likely feels. I haven't spoken to any of them specifically, but I do have a few messages from supportive staff who would like this to happen. I can provide that information one-on-one rather than in the board meeting. But that's my ask, is that we stop, it's hard not to say discriminating against the Jewish community because it's been happening for longer than I've been alive, and I'm almost 50. Based on the anecdotal evidence I've got from older Jewish members of the community that still live here or have students who went to El Segundo Unified. That's a long time to not recognize that a community exists and not to consider them, when every other school district in the South Bay, almost every other school district in Southern California and Los Angeles support this community that way. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. May I call for a motion? Oh, I don't need a motion. We don't need a motion, but I do want to, I just thought about it because it's pending action, but we can make comments on it if we choose.
I need the board to give me direction on what the calendar is going to look like or next steps.
Perfect.
So no motion. You're not taking action this evening. This is a two-step process to take these things into consideration.
Perfect. Then we can still comment.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
No, it's an action pending, so we can still talk about it. This is the only place we can really talk about it. So I would say, considering that most of our neighboring districts are doing it, that we have 2 new board members that we should consider it, because when we reconsider it, because when we considered it the first time, we essentially had a different board, and we know that the community has come out a few times to address this, and it is important to issue a new survey just to see what our community says, as well as evaluate or hear from our 2 additional board members. Those are my comments.
Can I ask, in us giving you direction tonight, can we also ask the community to reach out to us directly as well? Like, we have that fancy new all elected or all school board email. I would like to welcome the opportunity to hear more from staff and families in town, because it is a topic. Now's the time to talk about it again. And I would love to hear more input. I will say, if it is not too much burden on staff, maybe we should ask this question again in a survey. It is 2 years later. It is, again, new board, and I don't want to make any decisions if I have the opportunity to have more education behind them. So if there's a way to do that which isn't, out of the normal work scope, I would love more input from the community on this.
So I have a question also, and maybe you can answer this. If we can direct you to do this survey and ask parents and staff members to do that, could it still then be an action item? Could we get it done in time for it to be an action item on the next board meeting?
Yes, we can definitely do that. And I would like to validate what our public speaker said as it relates to the surrounding districts. So I specifically looked at some calendars from other districts just to see how is this represented on the calendar. And the term non-student, non-teacher day is what's used on a number of calendars. Local non-instructional day is another way it is referred, and then local holiday. I did not like local holiday personally. I like either local non-instructional day or non-student, non-teacher day. So, but it is something that along the beach cities that they do recognize. So I think it's important to validate the speaker this evening. But we can certainly do a survey. I think it would be brief, specific to this topic, maybe 3 questions and be done.
I think, what Tracy indicated in regards to the email that we have, if there are people that want to have a discussion about this. The last time we surveyed twice within a year to get data on this. And so I think, a new survey is going to point, unless you can capture everybody in the district's opinion of it, we're going to get a segmented skew of data. If there are some serious arguments about this, for this, against this, whatever it might be, reach out to us. Let us know your thoughts on it. But to go out and extend our staff into surveys and then numbers and crunching, we've done this. I just think, if there's an appeal from the public, they'll let us know. And I just think I don't know if we should, and no offense to anyone about resources or anything like this, but we go down a slippery slope when we invite this kind of consideration for a number of reasons. And I'll table that so we don't get into an elongated argument tonight. But like I've said, if there is an outpouring, we will know because we will receive that from the community. And so I think it's just best that we wait and receive that information before because it also gives other people ideas about calendaring and dates, and there might be somebody that sees something that isn't non-affiliated that they want to bring up about calendaring too. So I don't think we should just exclude all that, and that's what that email's for. So please,
May I
if there
chime
is
in?
an issue, reach out to us.
Yes, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say, may I chime in? So while we do have the unified email for people to contact us, if people aren't aware, so if they're not here or they're not watching, then we could possibly lose that audience. I think if it's a brief survey that where we're asking the specific question, I would like for the district to send it out. That way, everyone has an option. Should they choose not to participate, that's on them. But the district has done its due diligence to at least reach out to every parent in the district. And I think that is a proactive way of moving forward with this.
Sorry, can I add, if we have consensus to survey, I'm honestly interested in hearing about other dates and things we do on the calendar, not just this. So I'm going to say, not everybody has 2 days off in February, right? One of those is an official, third Monday is a holiday. I'm just saying right now, if we were to consider the national/federal holiday is the third Monday. So what if we traded that other Monday for something else on the calendar? I'm just saying. I don't know how to proceed with consideration of that, but what if we started the school year 1 day early? What if we, again, I don't know how far we can open this, but the calendar's the calendar.
I think that's my point is where does the consideration stop? We ask all Christians if they would like spring recess butted up against their Easter Sunday? which
Yeah,
hasn't
I'm not
happened
talking
in.
religion totally here.
Well,
but
no,
I know
we
what you're
are.
saying. I know what you're saying.
No, we are. This is not a curricular day. This is, as Mike said, it's a religious holiday. And so
Like Christmas is an official holiday.
it is.
I get it.
And so my point being is this has always been under, so again, you know, we can table this discussion, figure out how much advocacy we have for it before we start arguing these points. But I can just tell you is it opens up a slippery slope. The next person that comes with a date that they feel is valid, you know, are we going to then survey and look at that? It creates a dynamic that I don't think we should put at our cabinet's feet and extra work and those kind of things. I just, you know, like I said, there is an open forum to address it. If there's an outpouring, come address it, you know, and we'll discuss it. And but I just think, you know, I'm opposed to creating more work for something that we've surveyed a couple of times already. We know where the community kind of is at it, and we have an advocate. Let's go with the information you get.
So, Mike, I think you make a very good point with it could potentially open up a slippery slope, but think about it this way. We were all elected to tackle tough potential issues, right? So right now we don't know what else is out there, and we don't operate in fear. We don't not make decisions because it could trigger something else. To be quite honest, when I look to my right, I feel comfortable tackling any potential tough decisions that come with the people who are to my right. And I know that collectively we all will be able to make a decision that best represents this school district and our community. So while there could be some other things that come out, I want to look at what is in front of us, knowing that we have the ability to address other things that may, keyword here being may or may not come of this. I want to give the floor to Dr. Moore. Do you have any comments?
Yes, I did have a comment in response to Member Miller-Zarnicki in the fact that the last one we did bring in other comments, and frankly, I feel like it got the whole issue off track because we've got 16 comments, for example, and I have it right here. Make spring break longer. Don't tie spring break to Easter. Tie spring break to Easter. Have a ski week. Consecutive Mondays in February are challenging. And then we've got don't honor religious holidays, honor other non-Christian holidays, honor Jewish high holidays. Start school earlier in August, consider year-round school. Start school later in August and September. But in the end, this is like 12 people, 16 people, and I think we lose what the essence is. The essence for me is we need to have a calendar that aligns with our core values, in which every student feels seen, heard, supported, and loved. So I don't want to fog up the issue then by getting off topic on whether or not we should consider other non-school, non-staff days. So I think a very brief survey. Optic-wise, I just have to say, you know, it is problematic for me on an optics level that we're the only district in the area that doesn't consider this. That's just from my heart for your consideration.
I will just say, as one of the two new board members, I appreciate the wanting to allow us to maybe have some say on this matter.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have new board members, so.
New board, 2 years later, new board. I appreciate the new perspective from all around, honestly. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about timeline? Because I think I noticed in social media already people asking about when does the school year start next year. So I think there is a little bit of pressure on us to sort this out.
Yeah, I'd like to call on Dr. Gooden. She's worked really hard to work with the ESTA on this issue, and so she was going to assist with the survey this time.
Okay.
So our goal, if we're looking at doing a survey, would be that I would work on that into tomorrow so that we could get it out before the end of the week, and then to do a quick survey, 2 to 3 questions about it, with a very short turnaround. So probably giving people until next Friday to get us information. That would give us enough time to gather that. And then if we need to make changes to the calendar that was proposed up here, that we could then bring it back for the next board meeting, because we have been getting a lot of questions about when the first day of school is, when the last day of school is for next year as people are planning.
Can I ask, can we,
I have one thing to add, that should there be any change to the calendar, we are required to have 180 days of school for students. So it would not in any way affect the instructional year.
right, and I just want to say, if there's a survey that's going to happen, if we have consensus here to do that, can we make sure it's uniformly positioned? I don't want to, have any concern about the survey itself. That's all.
Since we're talking about the calendar, not next year's, but the year after, I noticed that there's an in-service day on the 7th of November, and then the 11th of November is a national holiday. I think that, so that would be 5 days at 1 day of school in the middle of it. So it may not be the best date for the in-service day.
We can take a look at that. Veterans Day is a non-negotiable holiday. You must observe that on the 11th. So there could be consideration to maybe look at the 10th. But we can talk about that. Yeah, because otherwise they're off Friday, they're back on Monday. I prefer not to do anything where we could potentially lose students and affect our ADA.
All right, any other comments on this topic? Great discussion. All right, then we'll move to section 7B. Dr. Moore?
Yes, this evening we have board policy and administrative regulation. This is for public viewing and input, and these are based on California Education Code, Labor Code, and our School Boards Association as it relates to any legal matters that are currently pending. I have nothing else to add, and it'll be brought back at the next meeting.
All right, now we'll move to the reports section of the agenda. We'll start with 8A, the informational calendar. Dr. Moore?
Yes, November is almost upon us. I will mention, I don't see October on here, but the Halloween parades at the elementary are a nice tradition that we continue. And so both Center Street and Richmond Street will be having information in their bulletins about that event for parents. And it's once again one of those small Mayberry moments like homecoming, right? Where the parents, the kids all get to enjoy that special moment. So I did want to acknowledge that. And then moving forward, in November, we have several PTA meetings. And we have our next board meeting on November 14th. Oh, and Ladies' Night Out is on the 16th of November. Veterans Day is on Saturday the 11th this year. So in order to honor our collective bargaining agreements, we will have to have a day off on the 10th.
All right, now we'll move to section 8B, and it's financial statements from the high school ASB. Dr. Moore?
Nothing to add. They're there for transparency, for public viewing.
And we'll move to the reports section of the agenda, 9, announcements, correspondence, and reports. And we'll go with 9A, and we'll start with member Tracy Miller-Zarnicki.
Okay, we've had some fun stuff these last couple weeks. We had part 2 of the City School Subcommittee, which again, a productive and efficient time together. I am sitting here like this, hoping that the details worked out in that meeting carry through for a positive vote with City Council before it comes back here. So fingers are crossed. It was great collaboration in the room. So I really hope that that is conveyed throughout both boards. I know it is here. I am grateful for the wonderful homecoming celebration that we got to be a part of, and we're getting thanked for being part of a fun thing. I just don't understand that. Like, it's our honor to be part of it. So again, awesome work by the students and staff and the parents that all came together to put on, yeah, everything. The parade, the floats were amazing. The game was great. I love it when we win homecoming. Thank you, football staff and students. So thank you, everyone, for a wonderful community celebration. A couple of us attended the West Basin Water Harvest. I was wearing both my school and my green cap that day, so it was lovely to be there to see our partners in West Basin. And I love that I ran into Elmer yesterday, who told me about our continuing expanded work with West Basin and our purple piping. So yay. Thank you. I'm glad that that partnership is alive and well and keeps moving forward. So yay. I want to add that Meredith and I traveled to West Covina, the far reaches of LA County, to be part of the LA County Trustees Association meeting last week. Great mixer with, fellow board members, superintendents, our pacer, Sarah Bradshaw from CSBA was there, Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio, former Congressman, potential next time running Congressman Gil Cisneros. It was a great evening of mixing and collaboration and some learning as well. So I'm glad that a couple of us were able to attend that. You're all welcome to the next one. The next one's on Zoom. Facility Advisory Committee meeting, again, looking at the work happening with our Measure ES projects. Good stuff happening, even, some of it's a little boring. We talk about air conditioning, but it's so important. And I know it is important because I'm freezing in this room now. The air conditioning's working again. So I know air conditioning is important. But anyway, good work happening there. And lastly, I'm just going to tell you a few highlights from the CSS PTA meeting. They did have their jogathon, which net profit, get ready for this, guys. Amazing work. $108,000, $108,114.50 to be specific. Thank you, Lori, for the specifics on that. Amazing support by those Cougar parents and their families and relatives and neighbors and friends. So amazing. Well done, Center Street. We are in awe of your efforts there. Their PTA memberships are over 600. They had 104 reflections submissions. One school, 104. There have been years with PTA reflections where we've had like 20 total, honestly, for the whole. So amazing PTA reflections chair. Love that work. Can't wait to see the art myself. They have Blake Brandis coming tomorrow to teach about grit. He's a repeated speaker there and always welcome. Book fair's coming up in November, and very exciting for some students and upper grades. The 4th and 5th playground is getting close to being done. So again, another example of awesome PTA effort and patience, honestly, in the process, because the process, as we know, when it involves DSA, is long and drawn out and expensive and all those things for good reason, but it is a process. So it's coming. We're so excited it's coming. And I think that is all for now. Thank you.
Thanks. Naima, thank you very much for attending the middle school, and I'm sure you'll give the report there. I was busy with practices, and thank you all for the support during homecoming at the game. It's great to see you all there. One of the things one person I'd like to acknowledge is Ashley Richmond, who started homecoming a week before, and the administration there at the high school. It's a 2-week-long process in preparation, floats, all kinds of stuff. So just an amazing job. And to see the crowd and everyone that's invited back on those evenings, just a fabulous job on that. And then on top of it, the next week we're doing a senior night for our senior football players and our band. And so just thank you for everyone in the community there at the high school that did so much and provided so much to the students there. So thank you. Nothing much to report in regards to ad hoc committees. But I do want to mention something that came to my attention through CSBA, and I mentioned it to the board, is state legislature right now, Governor Newsom, and Tracy mentioned this, is over the last month or so has been approving new law into the state books. And there are several ABs and SB numbers that are coming down, and they are regulating local governance at the board level. And so we are being, the state is conducting our business for us in curriculum, in election process, the ability to review superintendent's performance. There's a lot of ABs and SBs that are coming through that are taking that control out of the local governance and putting it at the state level, mandating it as legislative law now. And so we are now obliged in many ways to adopt that policy because of the state law. And it is in reaction to parents' overt efforts to maintain control of their children's education. And so there is this political dynamic that is now affecting us at the governance level, tying our hands. And I know CSBA in their approach gutted a few of those and asked for some of that to be removed because, again, what is best for our community happens at our community level. This board has always reflected those values, and even when there was a non-consensus, we came to an agreement of what was best for all in our community. And unfortunately, I don't think the state or even the county represents us in El Segundo, and we need to be very careful about this, and we need to be paying attention to this so that we don't lose control of our local board, that we can protect what is El Segundo, and the superb job that our cabinet's able to do for our students here. We are second to none, and our district does not operate like other districts. And it is because of that we find this success. And so to lose that ability to have that self-governance and control is very worrisome to me. I hope parents that are watching this, faculty members, administrators, that you'll keep your eyes on these things and that you will go and investigate them. And if you have the opportunity, like we do, to talk to our local politicians about whether we should support those or not. And that's it.
Thanks, Mike. Starting with a quick report from the high school PTSA. Tomorrow and Thursday are PTSA student member appreciation days. So all student PTSA members are encouraged to come by the PTSA table before school for a special treat to say thank you for being a member while supplies last. Next week on Wednesday the 1st at 6:30 p.m. at the PAC, the PTSA is hosting a free leadership seminar. This seminar will get you thinking about teamwork, self-awareness, high performance, communication, and more. Did I mention it's free? One more time, next Wednesday at 6:30 at the Performing Arts Center. On November 4th and 5th, save the date, it's a Saturday and Sunday. For a $50 donation to PTSA, you will get a professional family photo taken at the Manhattan Beach Pier. Holiday cards. I just officially gave everyone enough time to get their coordinated PJs on order. On November 11th, more serious stuff here, this Saturday, the mock SAT and ACT and seminar right here at ESHS. A great opportunity to hone your testing skills, and that's for students only. And coming in January, the PTSA will be hosting an amazing Science Slam STEAM night. So more information coming on that. As Tracy mentioned last week, we had our Facilities Advisory Committee meeting. It was a Zoom meeting this time. And the big takeaway, and we actually mentioned it in our agenda, is the team is now focused on arrangements for furniture installation at the new Richmond Street classroom building to take place over winter break. And as Dr. Moore mentioned, the dedication will be on January 5th. Our ESUSD Environmental Committee was working hard this month, and we met to discuss initiatives for the year ahead, including the desire to reinforce the principles of sustainability throughout all grades in the district. We encourage all our educators to incorporate sustainable principles in their lesson plans wherever appropriate. On to sports. Water polo has long been associated with El Segundo, going back to the days of Coach Uru Sari, who created a powerhouse of water polo in the late 40s to mid 60s, winning 12 CIF championships in water polo and 6 in swimming. He would be very proud of our current boys team, ESHS boys team, who are on a 27-0 run, including an undefeated season and 3 major tournament wins in 2023. We are also very proud of our marching band under the direction of Ken Harrison. They recently took a clean sweep of awards at the Ayala Music in Motion Band Championships, winning first place in overall band, color guard, and musical effect. That won them the golden ticket to the state championships in Sacramento. It's quite an expensive undertaking to get the 70+ band members and all their gear such a distance. So if you can find a way to support the band with a donation, it will be gratefully accepted. And you will be richly rewarded knowing that you are supporting these students who have put so much time and enthusiasm into their craft and who bring so much positive attention to our community. All band members are currently fundraising for the trip. And I just want to say at senior night, it was amazing to see the band seniors being recognized and hearing how many years they have been in band. It was just very touching to see. It was like, it wasn't 4 years, it was 7 or 9. It was some like big number, and I was going like, how could that be? And then I realized that that's what El Segundo's all about. We have these programs that go all the way through the district, and band is one, and they are amazing. And I stayed after the game last Friday to watch them do their performance, and it's just an incredible thing for our school to have. Thank you.
So my first thing on my agenda is I was at the Women's Club a couple weeks ago, and our own Steve Gephardt was the speaker, and he did an amazing job speaking to us about all things high school and the pathways and the graduate profile and all the amazing things that are going on in our high school. And it's wonderful to go to other events in town. Later this week on Thursday, Rotary is going to have Julian Rodriguez, who is the superintendent of Scrock, is going to come and talk to the Rotarians about all things SoCal Rock related. So I just think it's wonderful that our other community service clubs are including our schools and embracing, people coming in to speak to the groups. I think that's amazing to have that partnership between the groups. Homecoming, oh my gosh. Like, I've always been involved in homecoming. I've always gone and looked at the floats. I've always done something like that. And I've driven in the parade multiple years. But man, riding on the back with Tracy and throwing candy, really cool. Being harassed by Mike from behind, like, I'm just saying, it was an amazing experience. And kids yelling, Miss Beachley, throw it to me. It was wonderful. The game was spectacular. It's just such a wonderful community event. So again, we don't need thank yous for things that we really love to do. I appreciate it, and I'm going to enjoy my candy bar, but not necessary. Spent a little time with Tracy again at the, LA CSTA. It was a great event. And so that's something that, the problem is it's also on the same night as I am supposed to be going to the PTA council, which I believe Kim sat in for Dr. Moore and I, so that I could attend that, and Dr. Moore had something else. So thank you, Kim. But it was an amazing event, and Tracy really did need a carpool buddy. So, senior night was amazing. You know, I haven't gone to all the sports, but I was at the football game on Friday, and so I got to see the football players and the band and the cheerleaders and the choir. And I too stayed after the game and listened to the band. Their show this year is spectacular. If you have not gotten a chance to see it, I don't know if you need to try to figure it out, because it is a truly amazing program this year. And I think that is it for me.
Thank you. So I had a chance to attend the El Segundo Middle School PTSA meeting. A couple of things. They have on December 2nd the Young Entrepreneurs event. That event will be held from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is free for all community members. What's really exciting is this will be the holiday edition, but they have 70 booths available for students, of which 40 have already been claimed. Probably more by now, but at the time of the meeting, 40 students had already signed up. So that's great. We also have on November 6th, that's coming up, the Step It Up fundraiser. So I'm listening to Tracy cite those net profit numbers, and I'm like, wow, so very good. Some big shoes to fill at another site. And then lastly, they have on February 2nd into the new year, the Winter Ball. They will have an in-and-out truck, and it's for 7th and 8th graders only, so sorry, 6th graders. But they are looking for attire donations for the dance. So any high schoolers wanting to get rid of those homecoming dresses or ties, maybe not ties for home, but jackets, yes. This may be a great time to do just that. And I mentioned that I sat in because I sat in for Mike, who was on the field, and thankfully so, because for homecoming, we won that game, and that was great, great energy. Speaking of homecoming, I want to correct something I said in the past, and that was that as board members, we aren't paid. Not correct, but clarify. While we aren't paid with compensation, monetary compensation, we are paid, and this is judging off of the parade, I can tell you, we are paid with energy, pride, and most importantly, our community. So that's where it all comes together. Regardless if we're answering emails late at night, maybe I just answer emails late at night, but whether we're answering emails or having conversations, the easy ones and the tough ones, know that we are always working on behalf of our community, and this board has a good way of making sure that all perspectives are heard. So in some way, I feel everyone within this community is represented, and that feels good, because you know that we're having robust conversations, and that's essential. So I want to say a huge thank you to you, Haley, ASB, and of course, Mrs. Richmond, for all of the work, the energy. I know a lot went into pulling off homecoming, and it was a success. And again, it ended with the highlight of winning the football game. I also attended the Youth Mental Health webinar with Senator Ben Allen, and there they talked about signs, trends, and support for our youth trying to get through the current times that we are in. And so that was a great webinar to attend. I attended the college workshop at the high school. Not only did we have great representation from the colleges, but I am proud to say that our families and students showed up. And that's important, because when you seek out these colleges to come to speak to our students. You want to have a full house, and it was nice to see that families really took it seriously and came out. And so I appreciate the high school staff for the work that went into pulling that off. Mr. Gebhardt, thank you, and your staff. I also attended the West Basin breakfast event, and that was a very nice event. There were lots of representatives in the room, and I was happy to be with my counterpart, Tracy, to represent our school district, and it was great for that. And lastly, the last thing that I attended at the high school, well, really at Westchester's golf course, was the high school golf competition, and I believe it was their final competition, and that was nice to attend. And that is it for me. I will now pass it on to not action item, we're well past that. Agenda item 9B, and that's our student board member report. Haley?
Yes, this week is Red Ribbon Week, and today was deck out in red as everyone was wearing red today. Lillian Prado was our guest speaker, who was absolutely phenomenal. She shared her life story and how everyone has a story, no matter if you think it is important or not. She emphasized that we are all in it together and it is okay to reach out for help. Also around campus, I have heard many great things about the wellness center, as well as one kid saying it's the best couch he has ever sat on.
Very nice. And now we'll move to section 9C of the agenda. Dr. Moore for the superintendent's report.
Yes, in keeping with the homecoming theme, I just want to acknowledge our amazing VIP float judges. So this year we were fortunate enough to have Chief Jaime Bermudez of ESPD, Councilwoman Carol Persick, former board members Dr. Bill Watkins and Nancy Cobb, who were more than delighted to be at the high school again, and former principal of El Segundo High School and our own assistant soup of HR, Dr. Melissa Gooden. So thank you to our float judges who did an amazing job. And who was the big winner, by the way? Oh, the seniors. Okay. I'm surprised too. All right. I have to say, Haley, my grandsons really liked the sophomore float with with Jack Skeleton. They sat there and they gravitated to that and were pointing out all the characters. So you're lucky I wasn't judging this year. I probably would have had to cave on that one. Anyway, but that's all I've.
Well, we are having fun here tonight. I love it. All right, so we are at the closing item section of the agenda. I am happy to report that we do not need to recess to close session. So at 7:27, this meeting is adjourned. I'm sorry, nope. I do apologize. No, we are not adjourning.